Every day, a part of you must die. Every day, you have to let go of a fear that you've been sitting with for a long time. Every day, you have to let go of a doubt that you've been sitting for a long time. If you really want to truly become congruent, if you truly want to become who you know you can become, that confident man, that man who trusts in himself, that man that just has that magnetism, that aura, that presence, the man that knows he can do anything, he can achieve anything by faith in God, by trust in God, that God gave him the gifts to be able to do so. The one who actually feels whole and at peace without having to chase anything in his life. Every day you have a choice to serve your future self, of course, to serve God, because we submit to God here first on this channel. Or you could choose to serve your fears, your doubts, your circumstances that hold you back from becoming who you want to become. On this channel, we don't really talk about, what you can get out of this life because, money, cars, women, houses, things in the external world, they never fulfill you. They never fulfill you. You could try to make it up. You could think that once you have those things, you can become the man you see yourself becoming. Those things will never fulfill you. I've been there. I've lived that life. Right here, we're setting the foundation so that way you could be a man who is still peace, whole, and congruent, and sees himself as someone who could actually handle the life he knows he wants to live. I wanted to start off with I wanted to start off with the sentiment of every day a part of you must die. I had a really good, coaching call yesterday with one of my mentors, and proposed a question in 2026, like, what are you really prioritizing? And I said, I'm prioritizing autonomy over my time, because the most valuable thing that we have as men is time. When you have time to build, cultivate, create, still have time to rest and recover and really live the best life that you possibly can. I mean, this is obvious. This is common. And it forced me to think, who am I going to have to become to actually have autonomy over my time? Back then, when I had the detailing business, I was someone who was a go getter. I was unconscious of fear, of doubt, because I had nothing to lose. I was a kid trying to prove to his family, yeah, he could run a business. I was 18, 19 years old. And I did it by faith in the Lord, by trusting in the gifts that he gave me, with all the pressure because I couldn't get a job during that time because of circumstances. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, that was 2020, 2021. If you're in America, you know what's happening during that time. Now, I face the same battles as I go into different endeavor. And I had to ask myself, like, not only who do I have to become, but what parts of me have to die? What parts of me do I have to let go so I could become a man who has autonomy over his time? Because I have domination or dominion over my body, over my mind, over my spirit. I've reached a point in the life, and I give all praises to the Most High, where I feel whole. I feel I'm at peace. I'm not held back by fear and doubt, and I know how to manage, you know, outcome dependency, waiting for the outcome you know, to manifest into reality, you know. So I had to sit with myself and ask myself, what part of me has to die? And I propose the same question to you. What part of you would have to die to become the man you want to become? Because we're always upgrading here. I'm sure you're very ambitious. I'm sure you're very driven. I'm sure there's things that, you know, you're capable of. Because here I serve high potential men. Because I'm a high potential man myself. I've gotten the life that like I wanted, but I sabotaged it because I didn't see myself as the man who could actually hold it and handle it. So now that the Most High has rebuilt my foundation, now I know I'm more than competent, more than capable, more than able to handle the life I'm building. And a lot of the parts that had to die was like, back in the day was the need of control. I was someone who was very anxious because I was gripping on so tight to my reality. I was so afraid to lose what I had during that time, my woman, my business, my autonomy over my time, that it caused me to move pridefully unknowingly. I allowed fear and anxiety to weigh me down. This turned me away from the Most High during that time. Turned me away from discipline, from routine, from structure, and ultimately caused me to collapse. So, really, in this calendar year 2025, the part of me that had to die to become who I am today was the fear of being seen, the fear of rejection. And I still deal with rejection to this day. I still deal with that fear. I think we all do as men. We just learn how to handle it and manage it. You know, I had to let go of the outcome, let go of the outcome defining me. I had to let go of women defining my worth. I had to let go of the fact that even though I was a man with an extremely high potential, that time, that you still need to serve your time. You still need to serve and pay your just dues. I had to let go of the fact that really we have no control. We're not owed anything. And that's the first step to becoming an anomaly, as something that I'm going to bring onto this channel, is becoming an anomaly, an exception in this society, but an exception in your own life, that you're going to see yourself exceptionally. Because me and you know you're different. I'm different. I had to let go of so many parts of myself that I didn't realize were holding me back. And each season of life, there's a certain version of yourself that serves you. There's a certain version of yourself that allows you to get to certain levels, but you hit a crossroad and you have to let go. You have to let go of certain things about you that hold you back, that once served you, and you have to, thank the Most High that He made you into that man for that season. Thank that version of yourself and let go. And that makes things like discipline, routine, and structure so easy when you play the game of life with, who do I have to become? What part of me do I have to let go? What part of me has to die so I could become a better man? I talked about in this calendar year 2025 that I had to let go of the fear of being seen, right? And this was really like when it came to cold approaching. And I talk about approaching a lot in this channel, but this was a big hurdle for me. I had a lot of social anxiety. I spent a lot of the time, the past decade, or really the past 5 years, isolated and away from the world. So when I came back into the world, I was a shell of who I was. All I had was a vision of who I can be. And every day I had to choose to be that man. When I was afraid to go up to a beautiful woman for fear of rejection, when I was afraid to approach a woman because she was around her friends, or she was in a setting where everybody around me would see. I had to let go of those fears. I had to let go of that pressure. I had to let go of those illusions, those things that your mind tries to convince you is gonna keep you safe. For me this year, like, to really become like a social butterfly like I am now, or socially unconscious as I like to say, I had to let go of those fears. I had to let go of the pride that I had of, oh, talking to people is easy, going up and starting a conversation is easy. It's simple. But when you have social anxiety, like most people do in this society, and you have to operate out of truth, out of boldness, when you're when you're castigated, or sorry, when you're shamed for expressing who you are authentically by peers, by family members, you have to overwrite those lies. You have to override them. And those were the parts of me that had to die. The voices in my head that weren't really mine. Your spirit, like, is gonna lead you to where you wanna be at. You know what you have to do to become the man you wanna become, to live the life that you wanna live. You know what you have to do. But ask yourself, what part of me has to die? I had to let go of the man who was constantly proving himself and looking to prove himself to his family, to women, to friends, to brothers. And I had to shift my view of myself and tell myself, I have nothing to prove anymore. I have no reason to perform. Because that once you're in that mindset, yeah, I'm gonna prove myself. Don't get me wrong, I needed that version of myself for a season to accomplish the feats that I went on, to lose the weight that I needed to do the amount of approaches I was doing. All praises to the Most High because He got me through those seasons. But when I made the shift of I don't have anything to prove anymore, it released all the tension, all the pressure, all the stress. And I started to see myself as someone who's thriving because I'm able to face my fears. I'm able to build consistent routines and systems and have discipline. And my life is just on easy mode once I started seeing what part of me has to die. What part of me do I have to let go to become the man who could handle the reality he wants, who could handle the life he wants? And it's so freeing when you sit down with yourself and you really ask yourself, what part of me has to die? So I'll share with you, like, in this calendar year 2026, like, what part of me has to die. And the part of me that has to die is the last residue of me needing to prove myself, right? I'm very intense. If you see me work out, I'm very intense. If you see me in my day to day, I'm an intense person. I'm silent, I'm deadly, I'm calm, but I'm intense. I do everything with the intent to dominate, to win, to be the best, not for others, but for myself. To do, as the scripture says, Colossians 3 and 23, and I'm paraphrasing, do unto the Lord. I believe the scriptures, do things unto the Lord heartedly. Basically, do it with all your might. And the part of me that I have to let go is that intensity. Ironically, I can't be in 100% go mode all the time no more. I have to let go of it. I have to become a man who knows how to pace himself. I live my life like Russell Westbrook right now. Always on go, always a go, 100%. And the action I took today to make sure that I build a consistent rhythm and pace is be here talking to you guys, to force my ass to be home and embrace stillness and rest and rhythm and pace. That way I could become a better point guard of my life. That's what I am letting go going into the calendar year. Now, of course, like the Lord is leading me to let go of other parts of myself. And these are things I will discuss in the future. But I invite you to reflect what part of you has to go to become the man that you want to be. This year, like I said, I left the fear of being seen behind. I left doubt behind. I left disbelief behind. And these are things that do come back. Don't get me wrong. There's layers to this shit. There's layers to fear, to doubt, to things in your mind that you didn't even know you had. But this calendar year is going to be about pace, rhythm, routine, structure. I love growth. I love to grow. I love to become a better version of myself. I'm not the same man I was a week ago. I'm not the same man I was 2 weeks ago. I'm not the same man I was a month ago. It feels like such a long time ago. And there's layers to growth. There's layers, but like my mentor says, one of my mentors, you just swing the axe daily, keep chopping down the tree, and eventually that motherfucker gonna fall. So, like I said, I invite you guys to reflect. What part of you has to die? And anytime like I make an identity shift, I do something different within my style. I'll maybe change my earrings, I'll cut my hair, I'll add a new piece, just so that way, like, you lock it in. You lock it in and you see yourself, you know, something internally shifted. So now it's time for me to take practical actions to reaffirm to my body that things are changing, and that's what makes life easy. I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what part of you has to die. And it's as simple as sitting with this question for 5 to 10 minutes, writing it down, and making a decision. Peace.